So we're starting down on our back, and I'm going to give Susie real quick the toy sit she needs today. Susie, good morning. Susie, you also probably want a little cushion for your knees because we have a high kneel position. So you want your looping resistance band. Oh, for you, looping resistance band, anyone who's got the thick ones and the stretchy, skinny ones, get a little bit of both because we're going to do the stuff that we put it around our feet. So you want your looping resistance band, your toe band, yoga block, a rolled up blanket, and your massage ball if you're sticking around for part two. All right. And then we're starting down on our backs. So take your time, make your way down onto your mat. And we're starting with just bent knee position, relatively neutral spine with some head turns. So you're just going to start turning your head from side to side. Go nice and slow. And then as you just do this really simple movement pattern, notice your energy level, notice the quality of your movement, and notice the quality of your breath. We want to just start encouraging some good breaths coming in and out through the nose. All right, one more turn of your head from side to side, and then just go opposite leg, opposite arm, slide out. So you're going to slide one limb and one leg up and out, and then come back in nice and slow. And then you switch and just go for a nice gentle pattern, stretching opposite hand and opposite foot out and away from each other. Switch sides. And then if it feels good, especially for my yoga friends who know the drill, if you like adding that little pandiculation at the end, that yawning, stiffening stretch, it's a nice way to wake up the fascia, which is, our fascia is just that collagen stuff. It's sort of a crystally, webby, jelly stuff that kind of makes us human shaped. So we want our fascia to get awake. So we take those inhales. Hi, Linda. Linda, this morning you want your looping resistance band, your toe band, rolled up blanket, yoga block. And then if you're sticking around for part two, you're going to want your massage balls. So get all your gear, come down onto your mat. We're doing a couple more opposite limb slides. Add that pandiculation at the end if you like, that yawning, stiffening stretch. All right, one more to each side or even yourself out, and then we're going to move it right into our headband roll. So we start by finding our windshield wiper action with the knees just to get a little bit of looseness into the low back, lubrication of the thigh bone in the hip socket. And then if you're wearing glasses, take them off, put them somewhere safe, and then we move it into that headband roll. So when we headband roll, we keep our head connected to the ground. We roll so that the forehead touches the ground, and then we slow roll it all the way to the other side. So take your time as you go. Go for one or two more rolls to each side or even yourself out. And then we're going to come into a little side lying position. And in our side lying position, it's going to be bent knees. So you got like a, nice little bend of the knees, and then you're going to let your bottom arm lightly support the head. Now your top arm is going to reach up and over, and it's grabbing the inside of your head. So once you've got the inside head, it's a little lift and a lift. So you're letting that upper hand lift your head, and you're keeping your knees together, and you're lifting that upper foot heel. So you're getting internal rotation in the thigh and movement, novel movement in the cervical spine. And you might feel there's a little squeeze that happens right in that side body or the side of your waist. So nice and slow, because this one's not a speedy move, and we're not trying to like yank the head up. We're just giving a little bit of support and lift. We lift the heel, get that little squeeze in at the side body. Go for about 3 more if you can. All right, now we're going to flip it over to the other side. I'm going to spin myself around so I'm facing out to you. You flip yourself around in a way that makes good sense. We get into that side lying position. Low arm can support the head just to find the shape. And then we go bent knees, top hand reaches up and over. It grabs the underside of the head, and then we lift. Knees stay together, heel lifts, head lifts, and you go nice and slow. Everybody's hip internal rotation might look a little bit different. So we never try to force it. And one side might be slightly different in comparison to the other just within your own body. So we just look for like what lift shows up and is available with that knee staying connected to the low knee. Go for about 3 more if you can. And then we're going to be back in supine position, but we're going to take our stretchy looping resistance band and it's going to go around the middle of our feet. So grab your band. It's going to go middle of the feet. And then once you've got it set up so it's around the center of your feet, you're coming nice and low all the way down onto your back and your legs are nice and long. So now we're going external rotation. So you're going to roll the feet out and then turn them back up so they're pointing up towards the ceiling. When you do this work, I like to say put your hands at the tops of your thighs, at least to start, so you can feel like there's muscle work happening all the way up towards the front pockets of your jeans. So the toes turn out, but it's not just happening at the feet, it's happening all the way up around the hips. And then the toes return pointing up towards the ceiling. And now we've got 1 minute on the clock. For this one, let's go nice and slow. And if you can, follow your breath. Exhale as you push out to find that effort, and then inhale for the slow return. Ten seconds left. Okay, that's time. Now we're going to keep our toes and knees in that upright position. Slide your heels in just a touch so you're in long lever hip bridge position, but if you can, keep that band around your feet so it makes your feet just kind of hold a little touch of effort. Keep that dorsiflexion position of your feet, arms up in front of your chest or arms down. Go for the one that feels good. Up is going to be more challenging. Down is going to give you just that little bit more leverage and support. And then we're taking it into the long lever hip bridge. So you're going to exhale, push into your heels, come up with a little squeeze, and inhale for that slow lower. And don't worry, we have more hip bridges. So don't feel like you need to like get it all efforted out of 1 minute's worth of moves, because we're going to touch base here. We're touching base a little bit more with the hamstrings and the butt muscles. And then when we take it into that elevated position, we take it a little further up into more focused butt muscle work. So go nice and slow. Feel in. You want to feel like maybe the backs of your thighs are doing a touch of the work here. 20 seconds left. Slow and steady. Exhale as you lift up, inhale as you return. And that coordination of breath is just really good for that coordination of diaphragm under the rib cage and the diaphragm of the pelvic floor. All right, that's time. Now we're going to slide the legs in and you're just going to scoop that band so it comes around your ankles. So you're just going to scooch it on up just a touch. And now legs are going to go into reverse table position. You can put your yoga block between your knees or 2 fists between your knees. And now we're going into internal rotation with the hips. So now you're swinging the feet out and rotating in with the thigh bone. And you're going to go nice and slow. Take your time. Put your yoga block between your knees or hold that distance with your fists. And then when you put the 2 fists with distance, it's just a space saver. You really still want to feel like you're feeling effort coming out of your side of your butt. Maybe you'll feel it up into that hip flexor area. And then if it feels like a really nice challenge, you hold in that end range for like a count of 3, and then you slow return. So you don't let the band snap you back in. You rotate out and you come back in with good control. Nice work. Beautiful job. 10 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. All right, set your feet down for just a second. Now we're going to set ourselves up for our hip bridge with that elevated surface. So whether it's your rolled up blanket, your yoga block, your foam roller, whatever you like to elevate your feet on. And then I'll say, if you like that little bit of extra challenge, now scoot your band all the way up. And then anyone who's got the thick guy, you might prefer to put the thick one. Sometimes it's nicer. These stretchy guys, sometimes they get a little persnickety and they get all wrinkled up. So make sure you pick one that feels good. Scoot your butt a little bit closer to your heels. Once you've got this nice elevated position with your feet, then we pick up the butt enough so that we could slide one flat palm underneath our butt. That's the start position. And then when you're ready, away we go. Exhale, lift up, get a good squeeze in those butt muscles. Inhale, return just to that hover point. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take your time, follow your breath. Stay in that hover. Exhale as you lift up. Inhale as you lower down. And then, of course, if you kept that band around your thighs, try to shoot to maintain at least 2 fist width distance of space between the knees, 1 hand worth of space behind your butt. Nice work. Last 20 seconds. If you want that bigger challenge, arms are going to float right up in front of your chest. Still want to make sure that you don't let the butt completely touch down. So you still only want to return to that hover point position and then come up with the squeeze. Good job. And time. Nicely done. All right, lower down. And now we're flipping onto our side. So it's going to be some side leg lifts. So if you have one of your looping resistance bands that you like to use for a side leg lift, reposition yourself or reposition your tool. And then as we come into sideline position, a little bit high, a little bit low, go for the one that feels good. Bottom leg bent, bottom leg straight, totally up to you. Pick the one that makes you feel stable in the bottom half of the body, and then you can get some good work going on, but it's with good control. Now we're going to do like 30 seconds of this, then we'll move on to 30 seconds of holding a side plank, and then we'll take it into another variation of leg lift, and then we'll flip around to the other side and repeat the process. We've got 10 more seconds here. All right, bend that top knee, set it down. Lift up so you can get that elbow underneath the shoulder. Think ribs lift, hip lifts. You're going to hold that lifted position and then possibly lift the top leg up. And then it's just a 30-second hold. Hold steady, nice slow and steady breath. Five seconds left. All right, slow, lower your way down. Stay on this side. We got one more move. So come a little bit lower, support the head. Now we're doing a top leg lift, but we're turning the toe in. So turn that top leg toe in and then take your leg lift there. 30 seconds of work. With that toe turned in, you're going to feel it in that side glute muscle. And for some of us, especially for some of us, I'll point to myself. For some of us, that's kind of one of the weaker areas. So it might feel like it comes to fatigue pretty quickly. Slow, steady breath. You've got it. Woo! And time. Nicely done. All right, we're flipping everything around to the other side. Roll yourself around or flip yourself around in a way that makes good sense to your body. Sideline position, bottom leg bent, bottom leg straight, totally up to you. Some of us, it feels better to go for a little 45 degrees, and for some of us, a little straighter. So you're going to choose what feels stable in the bottom half so that that top leg can do some good work. For the first round, toe and knee pointing forward. I like to put a little flex in my foot, but you go where it feels good. And time, nicely done. All right, bend that knee, slip up so you can pop that elbow underneath the shoulder. And then once you've got your way there, lift up, side plank position. For some of us, side plank, side plank with a lift, go where it feels good on this side. You want your shoulder nice and braced. You want that rib cage lifting up. You want your head in a nice natural position so it's not just kind of hanging out on the shoulder. Get everything nice and steady. You got 10 seconds left. All right, slow, lower your way down. Whew, take your time. All right, now we send the legs longer or possibly keep it bent, but that top leg is now getting that turned in position. So turn that top leg in, keep it turned in best you can. And we got 30 seconds of work here. Five seconds, you got this. And time, nicely done. All right, flip yourself around so you're in a seated position. Grab your toe band. For some of us, elevating the calf muscles gives us a little bit of playroom so that the ankles and the heels can move really comfortably. So if you think it might be beneficial, take your roll blanket, stuff underneath your calves. Now you're going to take your toe band and it's going to go around your two big toes. First minute of work, it's going to be toe band foot pedals. So we get the toe band around the toes and then we spread our toes and we keep a little tension on the band. You want to feel like it's pulling your big toes towards each other and putting a bit of space between the second toe and the big toe. Once you've got your way there, foot pedals. So opposite foot is pushing forward and we just take our time. Slow, controlled work here. We want strong big toes and we want our big toes to have a nice alignment so that they help support us when we walk. They support the ankles, support the knees, all the way up to the hips. Hips connected to the shoulders, shoulders connected to the jaw. So we go nice and slow, strong feet. Just works its way up to the chain of command so the whole body's nice and strong. But do notice if you're picking up tension in your jaws, you're trying to hold that good sturdy position with your toes. 15 seconds left. All right, now from toe pedals, now we're going to go into big toe, small toe work. So you're going to go small toes reaching down, big toes lifting up, and then the big toes reaching down as the small toes lift up. And you do still try to keep a good spread of your toes. So get your toes in that nice good spread. And then we go big toes move down as the small toes come up, and then the big toes move up as the small toes move down. And you just shoot for that good coordination. I still try to maintain a good spread of my toes the whole entire time. So all 10 toes or however many toes you've got, you're keeping them as spread as you can. And then you're going for that nice slow control. Now with the toe band, pulling the toes, especially when you're going both big toes down, notice if one wants to drive the car. Like for me, my right big toe is definitely stronger than my left big toe. So it kind of wants to pull both toes going down. So sometimes I ask the left big toe to lead the way just so I can make sure I'm building strength in both feet. All right, that's time. Woo-hoo. Take a second, release your toes, give them a little twinkle. All right, now we're gonna flip around to belly down position. We're going into some scorpion twists. Scorpion twist is a mobility drill, but we're gonna do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. So a lot of times we just alternate between the two. So as you flip around onto your belly, I'm going to demo my left leg rolling to the right. So you go with your arms in sort of a W shape. You pick up your left leg nice and high, reaching up, over, and across, and then touch the right ground. And so we're going to go 30 seconds sticking with that one side just to kind of play with how do you get where you want to be? How do you adjust your right arm? How do you adjust your right ribs? Can you pick up that left leg, give it a nice good lift, and then reach all the way over and across, and then notice what places feel tight. For me, it's my right shoulder, gives a little tightness. So take your time, go nice and slow. Awesome. And then when you're ready, take a second, come back to center, because one side might be very different from the other. And then we reset up. So now you're going to pick up that right leg, and it's going to go for that nice big lift and touch on the left side. And then we're going to take it with that left side, go nice and slow. Take your time. For me, left shoulder, less grumpy than the right, so I get a little bit more range straight out of the gate. All right, that's time. Come back to laying on your belly, both legs nice and long. For my yoga friends, we call it baby cobras with a little bit of a lift and hold. So we're going to be hands alongside the shoulders, elbows lightly tucked in at the ribs. We lift up into a tiny back extension. We lift our hands, hold, 3, 2, 1, hands return, and then we lower down. And then that's the work. So you're just going to go for a nice slow inhale, lift, hold up, hold for 3, 2, 1, hands return, and then we lower the chest. You want to feel like your toes stay connected to the ground. In that high lifting position, I'm turning my head and I'm looking out to the camera, but you do want to go head facing slightly forward. And then if for my yoga friends, you know, we sometimes go tip of the nose to the ground, lift the tip like you're just trying to sniff your nose away from the ground, and then hold. And it's going to feel good in between the shoulder blades. We got 20 seconds left. Lift your nose, lift your chest, lift your hands, hold 3, 2, 1, and then slow return. All right, that's time. Come up to tabletop position. In our tabletop position, we're moving it right into alternating bird dogs. So for bird dog, we go opposite hand, opposite leg, stretch out and away, and then we switch. So the cool thing about bird dog is there's lots of different ways that you can play within bird dog, because it gets some good extension in your spine, a little work for your arms and your shoulders, nice core drill, and good stability. Sometimes the stability is about kind of moving out of stability, and then how quickly can you come back in? Can you coordinate your movement so it's nice and smooth? Can you watch your head posture so you're either looking slightly ahead of your fingertips or down between your thumbs, but not looking at your knees? And though there's that little negotiation of space where you switch arms and legs, can you make it be smooth, or does your table like rock and wobble all over the place? And there's no right or wrong, we just notice. 5 seconds left. All right, now we're gonna go crooked table position. So you're gonna go left elbow and forearm down. Right arm's gonna stay a little straight. You're gonna go fire hydrant, hinge from the knee, bend, lower it down. That's the work. You can put your looping resistance band back on if you want to. It'll give you a good amount of work. We're gonna go 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other. So get your crooked table. Fire hydrant, hinge, bend, and return. All right, now you've got this work going on. I'm going to talk a little bit about where we're going next. We'll be doing a coordinated crawl, and we're going to play with a head turn. But if you have a tendency towards vertigo, dizziness, any of those kinds of things, all right, take a second, set that leg down. We're going to reset to the other side. So come through center, right elbow and forearm down, and then the left leg's doing the work. Fire hydrant, hinge from the knee, bend, and return. All right, 30 seconds on this side, slow and steady. And then once you've got this going on, going back to where we're heading next, when we do our coordinated crawl, we're gonna add a little head turn maneuver, but only choose that path if it feels safe. If you know that you have a tendency towards dizziness, I say for safety purposes, leave it off. You still get all the good work when we're crawling, so you don't have to worry about the rest. All right, one more lift and down. And then when you're ready, start by finding your coordinated crawl. Opposite hand and opposite knee move in coordination with each other. Go nice and slow. Start by just finding that crawling pattern going forward and back. Coordinated crawl, good for the brain, good for our back muscles, and it helps us desensitize to being on the ground. When you feel ready for it, we're going to go 30 seconds on one side. We'll do 30 seconds on the other. But again, if you have any tendency towards dizziness or any of those kinds of things, I'll say, please leave it off. Do what feels safe. If it feels good to play, turn your head. You're going to turn your head and look to the right the whole entire time. For the next 30 seconds, you're going to keep your head turned to the right as you coordinate your crawl. You still want that same opposite knee, opposite hand moving in coordination with each other, but you keep that good steady head turn position. And then you see, can you go straight forward and back, even though your head is turned to the right? If you got your head turned and then you started walking in a slightly diagonal pattern, take a second, reset, go for one more pattern forward and back. And then the next time you make your way to the back end of your mat, we'll switch the head turn. So find your way back, take a second. Now turn your head to the left and you're going to hold that left head turn position. Opposite hand, opposite knee, crawl in coordination with each other. We go nice and slow. Take your time. Go for one more crawl forward and back. And then the next time you make your way to the middle of your mat, return your head to center. And now we're going to go just one more little mobility drill. So you're going to go toes curled under, but back to the heels, get a little stretch like you're going into a little child's pose position, come up into table, lift up into down dog, get a stretch through the backs of the legs and a little shoulder mobility. Back down to your table, butt goes back to the heels. You come up into your table and then lift up into that dog shape. And in this particular one, when we're talking mobility, like how do your ankles feel? How do your knees feel? How far can your shoulders move in those up and down positions? And there's no right or wrong. We just tune into what's going on in your body in particular today. All right, go for one more time through, and then we're going to come into a kneeling lunge position. So cushion your knees as needed. One foot's going to step forward, grab your looping resistance band, and we're going to do a little bow and arrow pull. So we want to stabilize the legs. So get them nice and gripped and strong. Load up that front hand with your band. The other hand's going to grab, and you're going to start by just pulling thumb to the ear. So start with a gaze forward, straight spine. Go for about 8 pulls where you're just drawing that thumb back. Think elbow driving back, thumb comes to the ear, to the chin. All right, now go for a few with a little rotation. Once you've got that good pull, pull and rotate, look to your back elbow, go forward, look to the front thumb. Go one more time through. All right, and then slowly release so that you can switch your kneeling position. Once you've got your way there, stabilize the legs first, load up that front hand, start with just the elbow pulling back, thumb comes to the ear or thumb comes to the chin. And then once you've got a nice pull going on this side and you feel like you're getting that good elbow pull back, then we pull the elbow back, turn a little bit and look to the back elbow. And then as you return, you look to the front hand or front thumb. Go for one more pull. And then we're going to go high kneel. And this is our last little move of work. So you're going to hook your thumbs into your band, high kneel position with a little tension on that band. So you feel like you're just keeping it nice and taut. And then once you've got that nice, good tautness on the band, keep your thumbs in that hook and arms are moving up and down. Put a little squeeze in your butt muscles. Try not to let the chest and the ribs kind of thrust and puff up. So think rib cage down and back as your arms go up. To keep that sturdy position, it might change how far your arms go. I'd rather you keep good trunk and then let the arms move in the way that supports that good solid trunk. You've got it. Go for 5 more if you can. Beautiful. All right, next time arms lower, just a little shoot of the shoulders. Give them a little shrug and a wiggle. All right, if you've got your yoga block, you're going to take your yoga block, you're going to put it right in front of you. I'm going to say go for a low setting. You might adjust shoulder height, hip height, all those things depending. But you're going to take your yoga block. Right hand is going to be on the yoga block. Left hand's going to be down on the ground. So for my yoga friends, a little lopsided puppy. One arm up, one arm down. Let your chest sink down just a touch. Get a little stretch into that armpit chest, into your shoulders, upper back body. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Lift up just enough, pass your block over to your left hand. Lopsided puppy, left hand is a little high, right arm's a little bit low. Stretch your heart back down, take a few slow, big breaths. All right, now if you're sticking around for part 2, you're going to keep your yoga block and you're going to grab your massage ball. So slowly come up just enough so you can grab your massage ball. And we want to use the yoga block for, we're going to get into that pec area and we'll kind of like be laying on our stomach with that ball in that nice little triangle between the chest and the armpit. So when we do that work, for some of us, it will feel a little bit better at the wall. So you'll kind of choose your own adventure once you get there. Do I want to do this up against the wall or do I feel good about being down on the ground? All right, so grab your ball, have your yoga block. The ball is going to be, think about where your collarbones are and your armpit, somewhere between that triangle. We want to kind of push in and feel, it wants to feel like it's in some good muscle tissue. So then once you kind of say, okay, I know ish where I want to go, then it's that little navigation of how do I get the block to come underneath. So the ball is on the block. I go low setting for the block because that's going to work good for me. And then I kind of tilt my block at a little slight angle. And then once you're there, let everything else figure its way out for a second. Let your butt muscles relax, let your head relax. Take a nice big breath. For some of us, this is already going to feel pretty good and intense, and it's like a nice intensity. But see if you can just take a nice big rib cage filling breath. All right, now we're going to see if we can find a little touch of movement here. So because of everybody's intensity level, we're going to start slow, and you might stick with the softest or no movement. So you're going to start with just the little smooth the waters. So the arm that's getting the work, the arm that's against the ball, pick it up and just see if you can imagine that there's a pond of water in front of you, and you're just smoothing your hand over the calm, clear water. And then if you're going in one particular direction, see if you can reverse, go the other way. Now, if that's feeling good, now you're going to reach like you're trying to reach to the opposite corner of your mat and then reach around to touch your low back. So now you're getting big range of motion, but go nice and slow, because especially on that reach around to touch the low back, that's where you're probably going to hit some at first possible initial sticky points. So you want to say, can I smooth through this movement, wave to my neighbor, touch my low back? All right, one more moment there, and then come back to just sort of a soft neutral, get that ball into place, let your head soften for a second, let your arms be soft, reduce effort, take a few slow, deep breaths. Nice. And then when you're ready, lift off. And now we're passing it over to the other side. Now, on the other side, that's where I typically keep my microphone. So I might adjust and like flip it back to my other side. But you want to be evensies. So find your spot, adjust your block, adjust your ball, adjust your body, get it into a position that feels good. Ask yourself, can you breathe comfortably here? Can you unclench your jaw? Do you feel like you're roughly symmetrical to where you were on the other side? And then when you feel like you've got a good enough position, see if a little bit of movement will feel good. Smooth the waters. One side, one pec minor, pec major might have completely different history than the other side. So don't force it. Don't ask it to be perfectly symmetrical. We just kind of look for shooting for symmetrical in the way that we put the ball in place, and then movement might vary. All right. So if smooth and water feels good, maybe take it in reverse, go the other way. And then if the smoothing the water feels good, then we reach like we're reaching across to the corner of the mat and then reaching back to touch the low back. Go for one or two more times through, just depending on how quickly you're moving. And then come back to that starting resting position. Just let everything settle for a moment, reduce effort, relax your butt, relax your jaw, take a nice big breath. All right, now we're going to move it right on down to the psoas. So you're just going to lift up just enough so that you can reposition the ball. So now ball is going to go psoas. So think front pocket of the jeans. So we locate our hip bones and then we go about 2 inches in so that we're in the soft tissue. Now, for some of us, we also want to go up a little bit. So we get there and then we play for a second with like what feels comfortable, what you can breathe into. You can have your yoga block nearby. It might be a nice place to support your forehead. So see if you can just start by finding your hip bone, roll it into the soft tissue. Come down, make sure that feels good. Could you give your hips a little slush? Can you let your forehead rest for a second? Does that feel comfortable? Can you breathe here? Can you relax your jaw? And then if it feels good, then we add a little touch of movement. So we start with just a light little bend and straighten of the leg. So I'm on my right side, so that means my right leg is doing the bend and straighten. And then the next time it's in bent position, if it feels good, add a little rotational work, little windshield wiper with the right leg. Keep that going. The next move we'll do, for some of us, it's like a coordination of movement. For some of it's like could limitations of shoulder mobility might show up. So you're just going to do the one that feels available. We don't need to be perfect. We just want like some movement here. So now you're going to see if you can reach your right hand back and catch hold of your foot or your shoelaces. And then you're going to think left arm's going to do a little bit of the help. You're going to think little baby cobra. So you're just going to kind of push into that left arm to arch your back a little bit and then a little baby return. Now, for some of us, holding onto the foot and using the left arm at the same time is going to be a big ask. So you're going to just go for what movement feels available. We want the psoas to feel like it's getting some tension and release. Lovely. One more. And then if you're holding onto your foot or holding onto your shoelaces, let it go. Take a second to come back to your little windshield wiper. And we're just going to kind of smooth our way right back down to where we started. Go for one more little windshield wiper and then come back to your little bend and straighten. And then all the way back to resting position. Let your forehead rest, let your leg rest, and just a little tiny slush of the hips. All right, one more little slush of the hips. And then of course we're taking it all to the other side. So lift up just enough so that you can find your new location. So we find the hip bone. We go 2 inches, about 2 inches in from the hip bone. So we're in the soft tissue. Some of us, it'll feel a little bit better to move up as well. So you might go into and up to, find your spot, take a second, give it a little slush, make sure that feels good. Can you come a little bit lower? Take a moment there, soften into your breath. All right, and then if a little bit of movement on this side feels good, take it into a light bend and straighten. If the bend and straighten feels good, once it's in a bent position, take it into a light windshield wiper action. Same thing on this side. So we're going to shoot for reaching to grab hold of the foot, but shoulder mobility on this side might be different. Knee mobility might be a little different. So we don't force our bodies into any position that doesn't feel available. We want this to be sort of something you can ease into. So you're going to see, can I reach my left hand back, catch hold of my shoelaces? And then if that feels good and you've got a little handhold, then we add that little extra bit of work. So we add that little bit of extension into the spine. We press into the right arm, lift the chest, and then a slow, soft return. And then we just look for that touch of tension and the release. Slow and steady. All right, one more with that tension and release. And then see if you can come low, release your foot, keep it in bent knee position, come back to your windshield wiper action. Come back to your bend and straighten. Come back to that relaxed position, give your hips a little slush. All right, one more moment there. And then we're gonna lift up just enough. Now we're gonna move the ball so that it comes underneath center of our thigh. I'll say for me personally, center of the thigh can be a really intense place. So get it underneath the center of your thigh. Let your left leg, or the side that you're not gonna work on right now, let it take a little bit of the weight of your body. So you'll be in a slight tip. And then you're gonna do a slow motion bend and straighten of the leg. Go nice and slow, take your time. One more bend and straighten, and then you're going to see if you can keep it in a slight bend and give it a slight little roll. So as if you're just trying to do, sometimes we do what I call the undulation, where you're just kind of rolling it across, or like when we do our calf muscle, we do the toe turn in, toe turn out. Can you just get it to roll a little bit across the grain of the muscle? Don't worry about it being perfect. Take a couple of good rolls. And then once you just kind of, almost like it's meant to be a sort of soothing action, see if you can take one or two more good rolls. And of course, we're going to take that work all the way over to the other side. So grab that ball, pass it over to the left thigh, middle muscly part of the thigh. And then once you're there, again, notice one side might feel very different from the other. See if you can just let a little bit of your body weight shift into your right leg, so you're not putting it all into that left thigh. And then see if you can find a little bend and straighten. So sometimes the work is a little bit like intense at first, but if you can, the idea being like to melt over the ball, or if you can melt over the myofascial release tool, that's kind of giving you that sense that you are finding that nervous system ease. If you're just like gripping the whole time, then you might want to like lighten up your tool or lighten up the load. All right, next time it's in bent position, see if you can find that slight soft roll across the thigh muscle. Beautiful. Do one more slight soft roll. We're going to flip ourselves around so we're sitting on our butt. So push yourself up slow and controlled. Take your time, spin everything around, take your ball, put it into the back of your calf muscle, like middle thickest part of the muscle. And now we're going right into that toe turn and toe turn out here. So you're just going to let that calf muscle roll across the ball. There's a little internal rotation, there's a little external rotation, and we just go nice and slow. All right, as you're going along here, like notice, is there some place on your calf muscle you're like, oh, I wish I was a little bit lower. I wish I was a little bit higher. Find your new spot, land on that spot for a second, and then see if you can go for that toe turn again. Toe turn in, toe turn out. All right, one more moment there, and then we're going to pass it right over to the other leg. So lift off, pass it over, get it into that thickest, meatiest part of the calf muscle. Make sure that feels good, and then go right into your roll. High or low might be a little different on this side, but ask yourself, would you want to go a little bit higher or a little bit lower? You're going to find a new location, land on that spot, and then go right back to your roll. Turn the toe in, turn the toe out, and roll across the ball. Lovely. One more toe turn in, toe turn out, and then you're going to grab the ball. Hand's going to help manipulate just a touch. So we're going to do up and down the side of the thigh, but your inside hand is going to hold and brace that leg in place, and then you're going to push and circle. So you're going to push into the side of your thigh, and like I say, push. Use a little muscle of your arms. Hold steady with the inside leg. Push with the outer hand, and then we draw some nice pushing circles. So you just want to, and then you want to work your way from the inside of the knee down the side of the thigh. And I adjust my inner hand to kind of come along for the ride so that when we get into that lower position, it's not kind of pushing me out of place. All right, now as you go up and down the side of your thigh, you're going to see, is there a spot that feels a little bit more interesting? Could you push the ball into that spot and hold steady? And now your inner thigh hand is going to do just like a touch of work. You're going to hold that push as much as you can. And then like you're doing a little pull the skin away. So you're going to hold and you're going to do a little grip and pull, and it just like light, gentle manipulation of the IT band. So we want to feel like it's getting this nice little compression on a single point, and then this like tiny little tug and rotation. And then if you can go underneath your thigh, same thing. You're going to pull in the opposite direction, but you're still holding that point. All right, one more moment there, and then give it one last good smooth and circle. And then hopefully it feels like a little bit warmer on this side in comparison to the other side. All right, but now we're going to take it all to the other side. So hand's going to hold the inner thigh in place, and the outer hand is going to do the push and roll. So you're pushing in, and I say use your muscles, get in there and get some nice good work going on. All right, now as you walk along this side, and one side might look or feel different than the other, see if you can find a spot that feels interesting. Hold a bit of compression on that spot, and now see if you can free up your inside hand and do a little bit of manipulation. So it's like, it's just novel movement is really what it's about. It's just like finding this light little compression, and then it feels almost as if you're just trying to gently pull the skin just slightly away from the compression. And then if you can get that hand to slip under, then you just do that little similar pulling maneuver in the opposite direction. Excellent. Take one more moment there. And then when you're ready, release, and we're going to go right into side glute. So now you're going to take your ball and you're going to go right into the side of your butt, and you're going to roll onto it. And you want to feel like at first there's like a, and then you say, okay, can I soften the side of my butt muscles so that my butt can just melt over the ball? And you want to feel like, if you think about the curves of your bum, if you squeeze your butt muscles right now and give them a good squeeze, there's this slight hollowing. You want to feel almost as if it's you're squeezing your butt muscles. It's going to try to lift you away from that ball. So give a good little squeeze and release just to make sure you're feeling like you're on the muscle tissue, and then let it all melt, let it soften. Take a big breath. And then you're going to ask that inside leg to do just a little touch of work, a little baby butterfly flap. All right, one more little baby butterfly flap and then let it all come to stillness, like soft butt muscles, soft inner thigh. Almost invite that idea of softness into your shoulders, into your armpits, side of the rib. Just let everything have a moment to sort of melt and soften. You want to feel like maybe there's like an increased wave of heat that comes in. Nice muscular heat, not like a not like a hot flash, right? So roll off, take a little bit of time to roll off, notice how it feels, and then we're taking it to the other side. So you're just going to find that side of the butt muscle, roll right up onto it, and then give it a moment just to kind of find that sweet groove. So you want to be in the muscle tissue, not on that bony prominence. So right on the side of your hip, you'll feel like sometimes there's that the bony trochanter, and you don't want to be on the bone, you want to be into that muscle. So give it a second. Ask yourself if your muscles can soften and melt. And then if you've got a little meltiness going on, then add just that little touch of movement. Let that bottom leg do that butterfly flap. Butterfly flap, just to FYI, does bring that intensity right back in. So it's like you just got melted and then you're like, okay, now I'm going to move it. So it's if you get there and you're like, oh, see if you can just soften just a touch, soften your jaw, soften your armpit. All right, one more moment with that butterfly flap, and then let everything have that touch of softness, soft jaw, soft butt muscles. Give it that squeeze and release just to feel that muscle work up against the ball and then sort of melt over it. All right, one more little squeeze and release, and then let it be completely released, relax, soften, take a nice big breath. And the last bit of work that we're going to do is we're going to flip to tabletop position and roll out our thumbs. But roll out the thumbs can also be done up against the wall. So for that one, we keep our hands together in that like that little whatever. And you're going to come back to your tabletop position. Your ball is going to go mushing right into the heels of the hands. So we keep the thumbs together. And we do that forward and back push. So here, different from against the wall, we can get that butt moving with you. So you're going to push forward and back, a little bit of body weight into it. Keep your thumbs together and get that nice push going on. And then you almost want to think, especially these heels of the hands area, you want to think of it like it's silly putty. So if you took silly putty and you just punched it, it doesn't move, it doesn't have but if you smush it and get it a little bit warmer, then the silly putty starts to kind of goop and goo and move a little bit more nicely. So think about the heels of your hands kind of like silly putty, and if you just bang against the ball, it's not going to get very much nice movement going on. But if you give it a little time, a little bit of heat, and a little bit of smush. But notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw for these last 3 pushes, can you keep your jaw a little soft? Nice. And then we're going to keep the ball on the ground, come up slowly to a standing position. Take your time as you come up, and we're just going to smush, smush, smush the feet just so that they feel as equally loved as your hands. So with the ball underneath one foot, just give it a little soft roll. I think similar to that idea of the silly putty in your hands, think about especially like your heel and the ball toe mound. Those particular places have that really dense fascia. So you want to give it that little bit of time, that little bit of slowness, that little bit of warmth that comes in. Go anywhere around the foot that you like. Take it into your heel. Give it a little smush, 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 smush. And then even just with that like little short period of time, if you gave it that like sort of idea of slowness, it'll probably already start to feel pretty melty. And then set it down and just notice one foot's going to feel just a touch different from the other, maybe slightly warmer. All right. And then when you're ready, take it over to the other foot. And just go anywhere you want to go. Roll through the foot. Think of it like that silly putty. You just want to give it a little bit of time to work up to a nice soft gumminess. Sometimes there's just not enough hours in the day. I want to like go, oh, let's do 5 more points of the body. All right, take it to your heel, give it a little smush, smush, smush. Notice if this foot feels a little bit warmer now. All right, and then with both feet down on the ground, bring your hands together, interlace the fingers, flip your palms, press them forward, shoulders down, arms come up above your head. Take a little side stretch, but go for that yawning stretch as you inhale. Stretch through your side body, up through your fingers, through your palms, all the way down to your foot. Let your exhalation bring you into a little softness, and then go off and over to the other side. Find the stretch first, and then add that pandiculation. You inhale, get that yawning, stiffening stretch, push from your foot to your fingers, and then exhale, takes you into a little softness, release, give your shoulders a little shrug, give your fingers a little twinkle. You guys are amazing. Nice work today.